Welcome back. Yes, you are still live with Expresso, and yes, we are still getting pumped on Wrestlemania, baby. Grant Hines is still with us, and wrestling games are still in the focus. They're some of the most iconic games of all time, especially when the nostalgia hits you hard. We love them. I think most of us have a wrestling connection to our childhood in some points. So here are some of the most memorable wrestling games of all time. And it's a nice spread.
It is a nice spread. I try to make this as varied as possible, and some of these are on the list because of how weird they are. And also, that's what I love about wrestling.
Yeah,
is that it's so weird.
Yeah, man.
So it's great to watch. The first one is called Saturday Night Slam Masters. This was Capcom's, as far as I know, this was Capcom's first fighting game. Could even have been prior to Street Fighter, but as you can see, it's got a lot of that Street Fighter vibe, right?
For sure.
And it's obviously in the ring, which is
Guile. That
no,
hey?
You see, it looks like Guile, and also it looks a lot like Guile. Actually,
yeah,
it's a very good point.
And its moves. I mean, this could have been the testing ground.
Yeah, this could have been completely the testing ground. But I love the look and feel of it, and it's just one of those games that like really takes me back to like arcade games.
Yeah.
So like that game, I actually never got to play, but when I was going through this list, I was like, oh wow, this is so cool to see like a game like this.
It's one of the cornerstones. Love it.
So no, this to me is the cornerstone. We're going straight into this.
Okay.
WWF Wrestlemania. If you had a friend or had a Sega Mega Drive, this was the game. I remember, the people pumping their fists in the back here. No, so this game, we had a Mega Drive, but our neighbors had a copy of this game, and we used to go to their house and play all the time. We used to go to the video store when we got our Sega Mega Drive and rented this one like madness. So this is, what the difference with this one is these are photographs of each of the...
I was going to say, I love this like semi-photo realism. It's hilarious.
Yes. And that's the Undertaker that you saw. It was like a golden era of wrestling. So there was Undertaker, there was Boink, there was, I think it was E Honda. I'm not sure what the, there was E Honda, there was there. It was just such a cute, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah.
It was that era of the 90s era of wrestling, and it was just such a cool game. So yeah, I've got very fond memories of it.
I think that's when WWF kind of, that kind of sport really took hold, really grabbed our imagination.
It was like the whole nation was talking about it. The next one is called Ultimate Muscle Legends versus the New Generation. I've put this on the list just to show you how wild this the genre gets. This is like an anime version of wrestling, and it can show you how like diverse wrestling can be, at least in the presentation of it. I want more games like this now. Unfortunately, they don't really do lots of games like this. Yeah, it's just like, it was just like absolute chaos. But like, what a cool looking game, and how like wild it is that like
I love it
that it could be. Now the next game that I want to talk about is actually from a famous situation, Smackdown vs. Raw 2006. I don't know, you've been following wrestling, so you might know about this. This is when an accident happened in the ring and the whole ring collapsed.
Okay.
And that was, so basically they made that into like a theme in the game, and then in Smackdown versus Raw, this became like a vibe. But you can see how the graphic level just completely jumped up.
Suddenly,
This is like PlayStation 3 era. I think, is this Booker T and The Undertaker like fighting together.
Love it.
I'm gonna have to ask you a little bit later who your favorite wrestlers are of all time. But yeah, so this was a very, the graphics obviously improved dramatically, and it was like very iconic in the wrestling, like genre. A lot of wrestling.
And you can see this is where the moves started becoming really spot on, where you could, the connection between what the guys are doing in the ring and what you can do in the gameplay. I love that.
Okay, and the last one I want to talk about is Def Jam Fight for New York. Now, there was a time in video games, not like about 10 years ago, where rappers got their own games. You got 50 Cent, Blood in the Sand, one of the best like co-op shooters of all time. It was so cool.
30.
And this is literally just, there's Danny Trejo, and this is literally like all these rappers that got to wrestle in a ring. How dope is that? And I loved the fact that games like this actually existed. People had their own soundtracks in the game. It was all like rappers from like the 2010s.
That is awesome.
Why don't we have games like that now? Where are they?
I'd like to see that version with South African artists. Absolutely love it. Dude, you've got, like I said, a beautiful spread there. There is a reason why we fall in love with this genre of game. Because it's fun.
It's fun. That's exactly, I think that's actually what it boils down to. When like 2K22 is just, as much as it is a sports game, wrestling is a fun genre.
Yeah.
It's not serious, it's not real. You just kind of like
Takes
get
the
involved
edge
in the
off,
story and like takes the edge off and you get lost in this world. You get lost in games, you get lost in wrestling, and the two together are huge amounts of fun.
Perfect marriage, buddy. Thank you. A great list there. Hopefully that stirred the nostalgia within you. If there are any wrestling games that you absolutely love, share with us on our Expresso Morning Show Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. You can also check him out on Instagram as well. Have a bit of a chat if you want to this morning. He's open-minded if you've got other suggestions.
I'm sure people have their own taste.
Yeah, he'll
you
take
did not
it on
mention
board.
this.
But more tech talk coming up. Don't move too far. Now it's time to box.